Straight in at number 5 is our youngest entry on the list, is Liam, who was born in 2005, and he's known as the world's strongest toddler. Now in this video I'm going to be showing you clips of all the Indigos that are featured, so you can see exactly what we're talking about.
Doctors believe Liam has a rare condition, which means his muscles grow much larger than normal. Like a bodybuilder, the normally unpronounced trapezius muscles on his back are clearly defined. He doesn't have a protruding belly, as is common with children his age. Instead, his abdominal muscles already have the appearance of a six-pack. Liam's biceps and triceps bulge, yet his muscle definition is totally natural and not the result of hours of weight training.
These kids, you're going to see me have to walk them up, because they're not strong enough to hold themselves yet. Whereas Liam has to use his lower body to compensate because he's not using my hands.
If we think about disease as a spectrum of abnormality, we usually think of it in the negative. Well, in this case, this is somebody who has abnormality in the positive direction.
His grandfather had told me that he could, lift himself up with his arms, which is completely unheard of at that age. And so I tried lifting him up, and rather than leaving his arms fly up like a normal child would, he held on to them, and that very few well-trained athletes can do.
Myostatin is a gene which regulates the size of a person's muscle. Regulation of muscle growth begins in the womb and continues throughout life. Another example of when myostatin works differently has been observed in the Belgian blue breed of cow. Known as super cows, these bovines have a heavily sculpted muscular appearance due to a naturally occurring mutation. But when Liam was 18 months old, a geneticist discovered his condition was different to the German child, whose body doesn't create myostatin. Liam's body produces normal levels of myostatin, but for some reason it doesn't properly restrict his muscle growth. Is that Liam is always hungry. For every additional pound of muscle he has, he needs to eat around 50 extra calories. The nursery has set times for the children to eat, but they've had to make special allowances for Liam.
Because we have excess body fat on us, whereas he does not. So when he goes into that starvation mode and he's not eating right and eating enough fat, it'll take the nutrients away from the brain and the spinal cord, so he'll actually suffer damage.
The coordination is really difficult to do, not to mention obviously the abdominal strength. Just to do a sit-up against your body weight, where obviously he was able to do probably more than what I could do.
But Liam and Owen are too young to be able to understand what they need to do. In all the confusion, Liam still manages to show his amazing strength.
Nice job!
Great job, buddy!
He was doing the push-ups, and all of a sudden he just went one arm, put his arm behind his back, and looked at us like, trying to listen to us.
He has no problem holding the heavy equipment.
Now I want you to give me a big squeeze. Spray, spray, spray. Oh, that was a good one. That went all the way across the room.
Owen's grip test average was 2 kilograms, and Liam's average was 3 times more, at 6 kilograms.
He was stronger than 85% of 6-year-olds out there, and he's 3.
Boy.
He's a very loving child who is very conscientious of the other children around him. He's a caregiver. He typically takes care of the younger kids. He makes sure that their needs are met. If there's a new child that comes into the program, he befriends them immediately and shows them the ropes. He's a teacher by nature.
But that's not the only thing that makes him unique to his parents. After years of trying to conceive a second child, they adopted Liam.
And we're blessed to have 2 great kids, one biological and one not biological. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I don't even... Once in a while somebody will say, well, your son's adopted, isn't he? And believe it or not, sometimes I have to sit there and think. Because, I mean, we've had him basically since day one.
So in at number 4 now, we have a guy called Daniel Tammet, who has the ability to do maths without thinking just by watching visualizations in his head. On top of that, you can also learn a language in under a week. So here he is.
I'm seeing things in my head like little sparks firing off, and it's not until the very last moment that those sparks tell me what on earth they mean.
I had quite a severe seizure as a very small child. A series of seizures and a diagnosis of epilepsy was made.
His childhood fits seem to have changed something in his brain.
It's really from that time that I started to see pictures in my mind, images started to form.
Intuitively, Daniel also began to perceive the patterns within numbers. Cases like this are extremely rare, yet there are others who have also suffered injury to the brain, only to emerge with a startling and often similar kind of talent.
I'm seeing pictures, shapes and patterns. Almost like a square, like the texture of water, drops, ripples almost. Like something reflective. It's something you can look through, almost metallic, like bubbles, like a half cloud, a bit like a flash.
It sounds preposterous, but if it's true, it blows away scientific theory. Daniel's brain seems to be doing something almost magical. It appears to be doing maths without him actually having to think. As if this wasn't enough, Daniel is also a wizard with words. He knows 9 languages and says he could learn to speak a new one in just a week.
Let me just choose another one.
Next, we asked him to divide 13 by 97.
.1340206.
That's as far as my calculator goes.
Okay.
Brilliant.
185 567.
You're carrying on.
I'm carrying on. Do you want me to stop or?
How many points can you do it to?
100, nearly 100.
At this point, we borrowed a computer that gave us the answer to 32 decimal places.
Okay, 0.1340206185567.
As he went on, every single number was correct. And he even surpassed the computer.
In at number 3, we have a woman who goes by the name of Elizabeth Salsa. Now, she's the only person who can make a synesthetic look normal. She can actually taste and see sound. So, this one's pretty nuts.
In Zurich, there's a woman with incredible sensory powers. When Elizabeth Salsa hears music, she can see it and taste it too.
When I listen to music, I always see the colors and the forms.
This fusing of her senses gives Elizabeth a big advantage. She has an astounding memory.
There is no other synesthete in the world showing the same ability like Elizabeth Salsa. She is, I would say, she is unique in her ability.
There are fewer than 1,000 synesthetes in the world who see color with tone, and fewer than 500 who have taste with tone. But she is the only person in the world to combine color, musical intervals, and taste.
When I was 16, I was out with a friend of mine, and it started to rain. And then I heard a G, and at the same time I saw that the G was blue. And then I went through all the scale, and I saw that each note has his own specific color. And this was the first time when I was conscious of the colors. Then I asked my friend if she can see colors when she listens to music, and she found that I'm a little bit strange.
When Dr. Janke scanned her brain, he found it hardwired like no one else's.
We found there is a specific connection between the color areas, between the taste areas, and between the auditory areas.
The neural pathways in Elizabeth's brain connecting her sight, sound and taste appear to be surging with activity. In average people, these connections are almost dormant.
Beginning of slow piece from Vivaldi. This is a
lovely,
line.
of course. Do you have taste with music?
I do, because I was going to ask Elizabeth, because you taste music and I can taste words.
Yeah, we should speak about this.
It would be nice if we could go to an opera or something, because then we could...
In at number 2, we have Kelvin Dome, who is the second youngest member on this list and is a self-taught inventor. Now he goes around the streets of his hometown finding scraps and manages to invent stuff that his community needs.
My name is Kelvin Do, aka DJ Focus. Alright. It's the youngest DJ Man Focus. I'm from Sierra Leone and I love inventing.
Kelvin is extraordinarily talented. He literally goes to trash cans, finds broken electronic parts in the garbage and makes stuff on his own.
He's taught himself how to do incredibly intricate things with very, very little resources.
In Sierra Leone, we have not too much electricity. Lights will come once in a week and the rest of the month dark. So I made my own battery to power lights in people's houses.
Kelvin represents learn by making. He takes a part, looks at it, tries to reverse engineer it.
I made my own FM radio transmitter.
He made his own FM station because he wanted to give voice to the youth. He made his own generator because he needed it.
The generator supplies current to the radio station. This is the capacitor and this is the spark plug.
For quite many years, Sierra Leone and many other African countries receive aid. But it does not necessarily get us anywhere. We are not looking into the future. We are not designing our own future. Unless we have a host of young people who can think at any given point that here's a challenge, this is a problem, but it's an opportunity to solve it, there won't be a steep growth in national development.
If we have a radio station in my community, the people can be able to debate about issues affecting our community and Sierra Leone as a whole. A big opportunity for me to learn from people who have experience and to meet with them.
How do you want the antenna?
Like this.
Like that?
Yeah.
All right. Kelvin had these RF transmitters that he had made, and we spent yesterday kind of trying to figure out how we might be able to make some improvements. All right, hopefully that's big enough.
Have you ever used a drill like that before?
No.
You be careful with it.
Yeah. We'll use this as the power cable.
Okay.
This was a microphone wire converted to a power output. I got the cable from the dustbin.
Let's give it some audio. Cool. We kind of get trapped in our own little worlds. And just as Calvin's getting his world expanded by coming here, so am I getting my world expanded by interacting with him.
People normally call me DJ Focus in my community because I believe if you focus, you can do invention perfectly. I DJ every day.
Now in at number 1, we have Ben Underwood, who through his own mental processes managed to move sound into his visual cortex. This guy is an inspiration.
When I was a little kid, I didn't really know he was blind. I just knew he was my brother.
Ben Underwood is blind. Both eyes were removed when he was 3, leaving him with no vision at all. So how on earth does Ben do this? And this? And even this?
I don't think I've ever come across somebody like Ben. You know, he was quite unique.
Ben lost his eyes to cancer, but unbelievably, he's taught himself to see with sound.
If he chooses to go out there and ride that bicycle, let him ride the bicycle. It's got to be very smart somewhere in there, it's a little genius going on.
Ben has no guide dog and never uses a white cane. He's not even using his hands. Instead, he sees with sound. He makes a sharp click which bounces back off nearby objects. Amazingly, Ben's ears pick up the echoes and he can precisely locate where things are. Ben is the only person in the world who sees using nothing but echolocation.
Determined to do what he's going to do. And he refuses for somebody to label him as blind. You see this kid that has a whole different way of thinking. It's magic and it's real.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone quite as remarkable as Ben, nor have I seen anyone quite as remarkable as Ben's mom. And I think that's a lot of the secret to Ben's amazing talents.
When he woke up from the surgery and he said, "Mom, I can't see anymore, I can't see anymore." And I told him, I said, "Baby, yes, you can see." I said, "You can see with your hands." And I put his little hands on my face. I said, "See me?" And I said, "You can see me with your nose." And I put my hand to his nose and I said, "You smell me?" I said, "You can see me with your ears." I said, "You hear me?" I said, "Baby, you can't use your eyes anymore, but you still have your hands and your nose and your ears." I said, "Baby, you can still see."
He was in the back seat in his car seat, and we're driving down the street. He said, "Mom, you see that big building out there?" And I said, "I see the big building out there. Do you see that big building out there?"
He found he could form a picture of them with sound. Seeing with sound transformed Ben's life. His mum let him play in the street because his sound pictures seemed to make him more aware of danger than his sighted friends. When he was 7, Ben discovered a new power. He began to click.
For a couple of years, it was just a habit. And then next thing you know, it was making things more distinguished for me. I was able to navigate easier and know what things are.
Ben can see this gap in the parked cars, turn into it, and go through without touching the sides, then smoothly turn again along the pavement. He's entirely self-taught. Ben is having a hearing test. Does he have the hearing of a dolphin or bat, picking up frequencies above or below the normal human threshold?
Normal hearing is from 25 decibel and above. And as you can see, Ben has normal hearing in both his right and his left ear.
Ben's ears are not super sensitive. So how does he get so much information from them? Just like submarine sonar, Ben's clicks can detect an object but not see what it is out of context. The team press on, pushing Ben to the outer limits of his ability. The rod is a very small target to find, and it's also curved. The curved surface of the rod scatters the click. There is hardly any echo returning to Ben's ears. The audio signal is very weak. Can Ben see it at all?
We want you to toss that.
It is little. But just take your best guess as to where you think it is. Just point at it.
Is it right over here somewhere?
Touch it.
Touch it? I don't know where you're talking about. That is very, very little.
We didn't know how big an object you could sense or how small an object.
I sensed
and
it.
This
I
is
heard it.
very,
I just didn't know what.
But that's the biggest one we were going to try, and then we're going to try some really small ones. And this is pretty much at the limit.
There was what I called the top 5, but really just some Indigo babies on the internet. Now if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. The Indigo Babies YouTube, the Indigo Babies Twitter, and the Indigo Babies Facebook. You can also go to the indigobabies.com to have a sneak preview at the new up and coming graphic novel. Everybody stay blessed.